Good evening to my Real World Podcast family. I want to thank all my subscribers who have been here since day one, my day one subscribers. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. To the new people who are just not getting up on the content, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. And I want to thank all the people who have been commenting and leaving the great feedback on all the new content that I've been releasing. The reason why I'm here this evening is to talk about an interview that I'm getting ready to release within the next 24 hours, maybe 12 hours. Who's to say? It's dealing with a young man by the name of Taran Helms. Mr. Helms is the young man who was convicted of attempted murder of Mr. Joseph Calusa. If you look back, and you'll see a year ago, I did a video with Miss Hattie Gilbert. Miss Hattie Gilbert was the co-defendant with Mr. Helms. Okay, Mr. Helms and myself, we did an interview. I reached out to Mr. Helms to do an interview with him. He hit me back on JPay, and he agreed to the interview. He called me. We talked about doing the interview. I set up a time for Mr. Helms to hit me back on the day, time and day, to do the interview, and we did the interview. Wrapped it up. At the time, Mr. Helms did not know that I had did an interview with Miss Hattie Gilbert. In the interview, when I informed him of this interview that I did with Miss Gilbert, you can kind of tell his attitude kind of changed a little bit into the conversation. In the conversation, the whole interview, Mr. Helms solely blamed Miss Gilbert for everything that happened with the robbery of Mr. Joseph Calusa. Now, I'm not going to go too much into details about it because guess what? I'm going to give it to you in its full entirety. I'm not going to break it up, slice it up. I'm going to give it to you in its whole entirety, and then I'll break it up into parts later on to those of you who just don't want to listen to long clips and go into 5-10 minute clips. I'll do that for you guys at a later date. Now, to the young lady who reached out for me from Mr. Helms, I didn't disrespect you on any email. I didn't disrespect you when you got in contact with me through Facebook. I was respectful to you. I gave you, the common courtesy to reach out, call me afterwards, and you didn't. Okay. See, here's the email that was sent to me by the young lady. I'm not going to give you her name, but in the email she sent me, she says she's on the phone with Mr. Taran Helms now. He says he never gave you permission to release an interview with him, nor does he give you permission now, which was a lie because it was recorded through, Ohio State Penitentiary. So if he never gave me permission to do an interview with him and to release an interview, why in the hell would he do an interview? Just think about that, sister. He's been lying all this time, so why not another lie to you? I have forwarded your correspondence, and he is requesting a copy of the interview to be sent to me for review before you release it. Thank you for your cooperation. Well, I'm not going to cooperate, and I'm not going to send you a copy of the interview first. I'm going to release it, so you're going to watch the interview the same way everybody else has. Where were you at, sister, when Mr. Helms did the interview? Where were you at when he was sticking his foot in his mouth during this interview? Where were you at when Mr. Helms was out committing the crimes that he was committing? Where were you at when Mr. Helms reached back out to me to do this interview? So, like I said, no disrespect to you, sister, but I'm not going to send you anything. As far as I'm concerned, I gave you an avenue to reach out to get in contact with me direct. You didn't do it. So this is how you're going to hear the interview with him. So, and I hope that after you hear this interview, you will realize Mr. Helms is just that. He's a liar. In the interview, he threw Miss Hattie under the bus. Hattie, in the interview, if you go back and listen to it, she professes her love for this man. She talked about how she don't want to make him and his family look bad. How she still loves this man. But guess what? In the very first few seconds of the interview, and we got to going after he got to telling us all the good things that he's been doing since he's been locked up, how many programs he's joined since he's been locked up, he immediately started throwing her under the bus. Women, ladies, whoever you are, after you hear this interview, please be cautious, be careful of the men that you deal with. Be cautious of relationships that you put yourself into, because guess what? You're gonna be loving someone, and someone's not gonna love you back the way that you love them. They're gonna throw you under the bus the way that Mr. Helms has thrown Miss Gilbert under the bus. So enjoy the interviews coming. I just want to put this little clip out to you guys to let you know what's going on, how it's going on. Peace and love. See you later.